will take first ban. The ban for Raven will be Dragonshire, and the ban for BlossoM will be Infernal Shrines. Interesting ban here. That means both Braxis and Warhead Junction are available tonight, G-Cluff. I know you're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I am already really excited. And as Raven did get smashed on Dragonshire against a very strong team, they were just out macroed from the beginning to the end of all the games. I think they just didn't want to bring that bad memory from their brain. So that's a way to ban it. Maybe they have some other strats for other maps. Let's see what happens.
Well, you know, Raven actually has prioritized this map over the other maps when available. So even though they didn't win first ban, they're going to go to a comfort map pick, so to speak, on Cursed Hollow here. We see the Zeratul removed right away.
Yep, with that likely to be Zarya or Falstad. More of Zarya because Raven already knows that No Chat is very famous on Zarya, so Zarya does sound like a very good ban because, yep, there we go.
There you have it. So Zarya will be banned away here. This leaves BlossoM the opportunity to first pick Falstad, although we've seen a big push in Korea and abroad to see Malfurion in this first rotation. It's a little bit rarer, but we're going to see Falstad take that slot, which means this might be the Malfurion Ragnaros pickup here for Raven. And, you know, in a lot of the other regions right now, Tassadar is super highly prioritized. Not always, but oftentimes. He still kind of sits in that first ban slot a lot. But in Korea, he really doesn't. So a lot of people might be watching this saying, well, I don't see why they don't just grab Tassadar Volley here potentially. But that's not really how Korea has been playing Tassadar right now. And I don't think that is going to be something that Raven is looking to grab here.
Yeah, it's much more about the CC lockup, especially with Varian. And Raven has a good chance of taking Varian here also. Especially because there are just so much CCs with Chain. They can just blow up, especially with Ragnarok's Vala. Even with Shield, she will just instantly blow up. So there's no good reason to pick her right now in this meta. That's what the Korean teams are thinking right now.
Absolutely. You know, it just, in terms of the damage he can put if built correctly, it's just he doesn't do as much damage as other secondary damage to those that you could have, even like Nazeebo, for example, or Sylvanas. So he's out of the meta in a sense. Now, Tychus gets picked up here with Malfurion, so the range damage comes in. But this tells us actually one critical thing, is that Varian, as far as these two teams are concerned, is super low prioritized because they took Muradin instead of him, and when BlossoM had the opportunity to get him as well, they locked down damage instead. They already have a global, and they're very okay with probably blocking Varian down in this ban phase here themselves.
If not, yeah, there we go. Varian should be banned in from Raven or even BlossoM's side if they actually want to.
They are just doing a full DPS choke here. Falstad, Tychus, Li Ming removed, and Raven now has a few options left. With Zarya banned, the Sergeant Hammer pick isn't as ideal. This could be a game where we see like a weird Nazeebo slide in.
Yeah, we'll see some funky draft in there as Li Ming is already banned. Gul'dan is still available, but not the best map for Gul'dan to actually come out. And here comes Greymane as we're not into the Cursed Bullet yet, but Greymane has been rising a little bit as he also got that 10 armor.
That's right, and also he's being played a lot on the live patch, and he's been playing in the open division in Korea. Because of the Cursed Bullet changes, a lot of experimentation is going on right now in Korea, so expect to see a lot of Greymane, I imagine, going to the Eastern Clash and also Western Clash as well if the Western teams decide to pick him up. I'm going to grab Rhaegar with this. I'm going to give that burst healing. It gives them a lot of different options for a 5th pick. They might even just try to lock in the Gul'dan down there for longer sustained damage. They have Greymane to do the burst in the front lines. They've got Rag to back that up with Sulfuric Smash. And the last pick here for BlossoM. They've got a lot of choices themselves. They could go with a Thrall pick. They could even go Dahaka for extra globals. And then they have like 3 potential globals, which means he's less likely. But they're going to go with the Thrall instead.
Yeah, and also Wiz is pretty good on Thrall. We saw that coming out. And Raven actually going to pick Avatar. Not the most common pick, but it has been coming out.
Yeah. Well, this is an old flashback pick. And we saw this a lot in spring 2016. Usually paired with melee assassins. Greymane's kind of a hybrid in terms of assassins. It can be paired with Ragnaros as well as Muradin too. Anyone who comes in there gets hatted and looks for a gank. And he's also getting a lot stronger going into the late game. Guys, let's go into game number 1. BlossoM versus Raven, 7th place versus 8th to find out which one of these teams gets on top. We're starting on map number 1 is Cursed Hollow. In blue, BlossoM, formerly Supreme Mixtape. Scarlet on Malfurion, Dudu on Tychus, Wiz on Thrall, Judy on ETC, and No Chat on Falstad.
In red, Raven, Joju on Rhaegar, Hamlin on Greymane, and MX on Avatar, Diong on Muradin, and H82 on Ragnaros.
All right, G-Clef. Raven's first chance here, the best chance in terms of statistics to take a map in this tournament. And they're starting things off with a pretty unique draft. They got choked out of damage, and they have full confidence, though, in the Greymane. They prioritized Malfurion, or Muradin so highly, and it led to this situation.
And both teams are trying to bait in the bushes, but both teams are actually trying to bait. It doesn't really work out. And H82 does get caught. Looks like it will be the first kill of the game.
Well, H82, you know, if you step over the line as Ragnaros, whether it's in the early game in top lane, as H82's habits have been, or here in the mid lane, you're going to get punished by an ETC comp if you don't have vision. But they're going to trade at least this bot wall for the mid wall. Abathur goes up top to get a little bit of extra soak.
And also Rag is going on top.
Yeah.
Not really following what's going on at the moment, but this mid lane is totally open at the moment. Abathur is covering it just for the time. But looks like BlossoM got the better start for now.
Definitely so. With Rag coming up here, though, the pressure is relieved, and oh boy, we're going to see another gank attempt here, this time onto Diong. The Hat trying to save him. Symbiote just not enough heals, and he is going to go down. Joju even trying to come over here to help out, and BlossoM with a pretty dominating start. And, you know, when you look at what's happened so far, it's not surprising. The Joju should get out here. It's not surprising that they would be able to pick up 2 kills with the early ETCs. Very strong in the early game. And Raven is just, they have a comp where this is going to be a little bit tougher, especially in terms of wave clear as well. If they keep losing heroes, it's very frustrating to even try to lane.
And also with that, they have a late start, and they're already like 1/3 of a level down, as BlossoM just goes right in to take the camp at 2 minutes. Basic rotations at 2 minutes, the camps come up, and then especially at Cursed Hollow, you either send 1 or 2 if you have a good camp taker. You can just have 1, and if you don't, you can have 2 instead.
Sure, that's generally how it goes. I just want to point out really quick, we're seeing a full Wolf build with the Wolf Run and the Feral Heart coming out here on the side of Raven. Joju's going for that build, which I think is super underrated right now in Korea. We've seen it dropping, or rather raising in popularity in the open division in Korea right now. You and I were talking about this a little bit yesterday. I feel like it's super strong on this map because it gives you the ability to roam quickly, and you don't have to hearth back as often. As No Chat's actually going to get caught down here in the bot lane. Gets picked. Big dive here for Raven. Can even proxy these minions back here. But I like this build. It gives him more mobility, and he's going to have to back less often. He's going to have more mana in general.
Yeah, that's right. As Koreans often try to... These two teams will actually try to experiment and try some new stuff also compared to all the other teams. Other teams will try to go for a safer build, more of a build that they've actually practiced before. I'm sure these teams also practiced before, but something like less common, so to say.
Definitely so. Scarlet gets picked off here, by the way, as this continues. There was a pick in the top lane on H82 as well, so 1 for 1. And they're both pushing Siege Giants oppositely of each other. For BlossoM, they're trying to get this extra soak with Falstad. Funny as it is in the mid lane kind of becomes the solo Falstad lane with how this game has been happening. And it's going to be a win for Raven, though, in terms of structures. You can see that the Abathur push definitely helping them down there with the last-minute Locust and having bigger support. So they get this first. They don't have a global to go up top to relieve that pressure, so they're going to lose their fort. They send Abathur up there just to kind of hide, relieve some of that pressure. And now we're going to go into this second tribute phase here. with basically dead even for both teams in EXP and structures. The one thing that's going for Raven is they still have like one Siege Giant down there, I think, in the bot lane. Falstad's going to have to relieve that.
Yeah, all they have to do is just stall some time until Falstad clears out the bottom lane. And after is still on top, and here goes Raven right in. DeYoung jumps in, and Scarlet does get caught. But they're focusing on Hamlin at the moment. Valkyrian gets blown up. Dude is very low, and Rehgar just picks that up.
Yeah, this looks like it could be a disastrous fight for BlossoM here. Hamlin's very low. There's the pickoff onto Wiz, and I mean, two key things here. BlossoM was on red side of the tribute, so they actually got dove upon from that rotation mid. The collapse was really well done by Raven. They had Murden come in right away. He had Symbiote on him. And the late rotation up from Falstad was a big problem because No Chat was down there, and it was basically a 5v4 when you count the Symbiote as a hero, or basically a 4.5 v4. And so that was a big win for Raven there, relieving that tribute pressure, because if they had lost that, BlossoM would have been on curse point.
Yep, and with that, they're going to just roll their lead right into the boss. As BlossoM will actually decide to go for a camp because they are late on rotation because they did lose more members from that team fight. And BlossoM could actually also want to contest this if they actually want to, but they're just not going to at the moment as they have Falstad at the bottom lane.
No one's showing on the map, so it's really risky right now for BlossoM to even check their own boss. They do that. I think at some point they realized the boss was being taken, but to rotate up would take too long for them. They didn't have 10. What's really cool about this for Raven, though, G-Club, is that they had Abathur in the bot lane that entire time soaking those minions, so they get 10 and the boss, and now they can actually try to get this boss with this tribute. It spawns right next to the boss they're looking to invade, and they went Bloodlust, so keep that in mind as we go into this fight.
And that's going to be bloodlustless indeed. There comes the big power slide. Ragnaros is caught in the middle. H82 blown up from the beginning of the fight. Judy also goes very low. Great Twilight Dream coming out from Scarlet. And Hamlin DeYoung can actually jump out. He does Swerve Toss out. And No Chat actually goes chase him.
Yep, the Bloodlust not used here. Joju doesn't look like he's going to get out. He saves his Bloodlust cooldown at least, I guess you could say. The lack of that burst heal is a problem. There's the kill onto Hamlin. It's a full wipe. Abathur doesn't count. There's the asterisk. Okay, never mind. Full wipe.
That is the full wipe, yes.
Full wipe indeed. So, big win here for BlossoM because now they've got the curse point. Will they rotate to boss? It looks like they're still dealing with this top boss that Raven had, the red side boss first. They're going to clear this, and they may just rotate in. Judy is looking for a setup for that. They don't have a lot of health on Judy, but with the heals here from Malfurion, should be fine. Raven is actually looking to contest this. They still have Bloodlust. Well, they were heading towards that, but they're actually not going to, so never mind. They were rotating down that way. It looks like it's just going to be a peek here from DeYoung.
One of the things you can do with Ragnaros, I don't think H82 has even used Molten Core once in this game. You can actually just go into Molten Core and try to contest. I know it's a bit far on the range from the first fort, but you can still stall time, especially when you have your boss pushing that top lane. That was one of the other options, but they just decided to go all the way in, and BlossoM made a better choice.
Really interesting too in that point. Like we're not seeing it too much of that Molten Core, but I like what DeYoung did there. He actually checked the boss and scared BlossoM off of it. They decided not to take it, which means that they're no longer right now. Raven would have a boss against them while they're trying to stop Curse Point, which would be a horrible situation. So denying that boss was a big win, and they got that Merc camp as well. So risky, and they're kind of lucky that BlossoM kind of fell for their bait there. But here's the Molten Core in action, invading here to help poke, and it looks like BlossoM may just simply give this tribute up. Falstad is in mid. He can come up. He doesn't even need to fly.
I don't think they want to give this out. They just want to stall some time until the Molten Core is done, and it is done already. And it is now BlossoM's turn. They got the curse. They have to push as they are still a talent up compared to Raven.
Yeah, that's the talent advantage that you just mentioned. That's the really big key here. That's why Raven decided to give this up. It's so frustrating, but there's nothing they can do. NMX here coming from behind. Not actually able to find too much, though. DeYoung is going to be the first to die as NMX's clone does expire there. Went with the Muradin clone, interestingly enough. Didn't find too much with that. And this curse is very real. I mean, they have a really strong push in top. Mid is going to be pushed as well. The one thing they're not dealing with is those bot Siege Giants, so Raven could be very happy that those were taken right before that boss, deny, if you will, where Dion actually was able to stop the boss, because they're getting a lot of value from that, but not as much as this top push, where Hamlin will go down.
And with that Hamlin pickup, they can actually go for this keep. They could have done it without getting that pickup also, but they're going all the way in already. Only 9 minutes, 25 seconds. They're getting this keep on top lane. BlossoM just pushing his curse all the way in. What a great job done there.
Yeah, really well done. Those bot Siege Giants are still there, which is absolutely crazy. Obviously, they don't have their hit points reduced under Curse, but they should be down with this next wave, or perhaps the next one. Yeah, it looks like just barely going to go down to this one. But they got an entire keep wall, partially due to, of course, Abathur's ability to help support them with Symbiote. But a keep down now for Raven is really frustrating. They don't have the ability to threaten a Curse either, because they only have one tribute in their favor. Invading right now like they're doing is good. I like this choice because they are on the same talent tier. If they get a boss or if they can get a pick, it's going to make their lives a lot easier. They can close that gap to 16. Unfortunately, they don't find anything, but I like the idea of what they're looking for here.
Yep, Dion still trying to just harass around the boss, see what's happening. But BlossoM is also forced to just stall some time, and they're actually going to start the boss right now. And Dion actually maybe caught Judy's on site. He's watching him at the moment.
All right, Dion, will he scare them off the boss again? They already took out a third of its health. Looks like they will be pushed away, but this time they're cut in half. Can Raven actually capitalize on this? No, they cannot. Dion is forced to use Avatar now. Bloodlust also popped, but where's the damage? Huge Earthquake comes in now. Judy isolating Raven's H82 here. Mosh Pit goes off. One kill already here on the side of BlossoM. The clone is down. They do pick off Wiz, but this fight cannot be turned.
Yeah, with that ice block, Scarlet having does end up dying at the end, but having that Scarlet right in the middle, that crucial moment when Greymane's clone came in, that Twilight Dream just stopped the damage from coming in. What a great job by Scarlet in the middle.
Yep, and with this, they should be able to take the boss now. There's just nothing to deny them. They're going to start it again. Even with only 3 members here, 2 of them are DPS. Judy's Rockstar passive going to make this pretty easy to take. And the Tribute is a really good spawn for Raven, though. It's on the opposite of the boss. They know BlossoM is taking, so they actually are really fine here to just go over and force that curse point. NMX in the bot lane is going to get some extra soak, so they're about to hit 16. And this could have been a worse situation for Raven. They should be able to get this Tribute and then rotate down to defend the boss. It's also bot lane where they still have their fort at full health.
Yep, it's not the worst thing, but their top is pushed all the way into the keep, and they don't really have much on the top lane as the top lane keep on getting pushed. This was actually, as you said, this was a very lucky Tribute spawn for Raven, but this boss will start to do some damage, as looks like BlossoM also wants to take this, and Odin is popped.
It looks like they just want to force a fight here, but Raven may regret it now as BlossoM gets into better position here. Odin is wasted, so that's a big win here. We'll see if they can actually capitalize on Odin being down. They need to delay the boss in order to do so. NMX is actually rotating now into the mid lane. He's going to be closer in proximity here, as he's not really able to do much against that boss by himself as Abathur. And Raven looks to just take this camp in the meantime, which is pretty smart, actually, because they're just standing here to try to delay the boss anyways. Notice Diong's positioning has been really on point today.
And he's not getting any pickoff from the front line. Mosh Pit is back now, still without Odin, but that boss did push out all the way to the second wall of the bottom lane. So BlossoM had the advantage just having the stalling time.
This is a really tense moment, actually. I feel like in BlossoM's best interest to let this go rather than try to really force something, because they have the Tribute against them now. The curse is against them, and it looks like they just decide to back off. I like this choice. If they force a fight, lose it, and are wiped during curse, there's so much more to lose for them. And having curse point is so powerful of a tool in itself. This is why they know that Falstad's the better global. Abathur's, a semi-global. They know Falstad's a more powerful global, and they're going to try to take this boss while he gets the Tribute.
And also, and then NoChat does pick up that Tribute on the bottom. It looks like he's about to fly in. Let's see if he actually joins the fight at the time. Dion gets very low in the front line, but safely walks out.
Good patience there on the Mosh Pit, actually, by Judy. Thought he was going to pop it there, decided not to. They do waste the clone. Odin is back up. And this is a huge win for BlossoM. They denied the boss and got a Tribute. And the only thing they're really missing out on is the soak that Abathur provides while they bring Falstad in. So the EXP lead they had isn't as strong as it was before, but this was a big win. And if they can do this 2 more times, then they end up with the curse. This is a very, very technical and passive game by these two. I actually really like this.
Yeah, they're using the power of Falstad all the way through from the beginning. Falstad just cleared all the mid lane camp and the waves, 2 waves I believe, and then just flew over at the right time. That's all they need when Raven does not have a global to actually counteract against it.
Okay, this is another unfortunate tribute spawn here for Raven. If they just send Falstad over, if NoChat goes over and takes it while they delay boss here and he flies back in, this is one of those steps I was talking about. There's 2 more times that BlossoM wants to do this. And again, Raven will commit to the boss. We'll see if BlossoM actually has the courage to try to deny. Again, there's so much more for them to lose here, but they're looking for the pick onto Diong first. He has to pop his activatable passive here to try to heal up. And he does get away, but Falstad's back now. They've evened up the tribute, and now they can actually look to take the boss. This is really unfortunate for Raven.
Yeah, at least Diong didn't use that avatar to actually save himself. That was enough, and NoChat is already back. That's the power of False that we keep on talking about. It's just having the global, and he can use the avatar to save himself right now. And Diong, that's the Bloodlust is gone, and Mosh Pit catches too, but that's the clone, not the real one on Hamlin.
Yeah, but they got the pick off onto Diong already. NMX is going to die here, and Hamlin is stuck. At least he takes 1 down with him. Looks for 2, unfortunately unable to do so. And this is boss, which will lead into Curse and potentially double boss, as the blue side boss should be respawning at any moment. And there's just simply put nothing Raven can really do about this right now with Rhaegar and Ragnaros.
Yeah, sadly,
they're trying.
Yeah, Ragnaros can also go into that Molten Core as this next tribute also spawns right next to this boss, and BlossoM has the higher hand as Greymane and Muradin is dead at the moment.
Yeah, they decided to let the boss go. It's just too much of a risk for them. Again, big props to NMX for his soak. He's actually pushing the bot lane super aggressively right now, and he's gone for a big symbiote build. HA2 gets picked here in the top lane, though. Curse is against them. And even though NMX almost got 20 for Raven, he wasn't completely able to do so. Now BlossoM can send Falstad to the bot lane to clear that wave, help them get 20 while they take a boss. The boss will push for about half of the curse duration, and it's going to push directly towards the core. They're going to have 20. Raven needs to contest this big time, and they're going to try.
That is their last chance, and Rhaegar blown up from the beginning. Diong trying to soak up damage from the front line as Judy is very low, also. And Scarlet does pop that Twilight Dream.
NMX doing a lot here on the Muradin clone, but not enough to turn the tide right now. Judy will go down. Hamlin gets a pick, but actually he gets the Ghost Mosh here.
It's a death metal.
Yep, and that will seal the deal here. BlossoM having some struggles through the mid game, but having a supreme late game. Really nice patience here with these 3 catapults. Look to go end the game. Diong wants to do something fancy here, but I don't imagine it's going to work out too well. They even have the big red button at 20 here for Dudu, and they are just going to rock this core. Molten Core used now, and an attempt to slow and stop this, but it just should not work. They get the kill onto Malfurion, but it's not enough.
Yeah, with the swing and smash does get the kill, but that's not enough. Boss is here too. Odin is doing the last bit of damage, and looks like game number 1 going to Team BlossoM.
Really good patience and coordination to use the power of Falstad to grab those tributes while denying the boss. They kind of slowly choked Raven out of the game. Raven was never able to find a good fight. Every time they tried to use the Muradin clone for a lot of extra damage, and also the CCs that clone is going to give there. When the clone was down, they lost power there. And in NMX's favor, or in his in support of NMX, what he was doing,